challengefatloss.com, challengefatloss.com. I create challenging workouts, and I'm really interested in giving you ways to get strong, get lean in record time. Now, I like to train my abs, but I never do crunches, and one of the best ways to increase core strength and stability, and I often use it for active recovery, is a plank. But I want to show you some common mistakes with the plank so that when you're doing your plank, you can be checking your form. I want to show you the front plank, and I want to show you the side plank. Now, when you're doing a front plank, especially if you're a beginner, it's actually best to go from the knees to make sure that you're engaging through that transverse and those hips aren't too high up. So a high plank is a little bit harder on the triceps and the shoulders. And so usually, especially for active recovery, you're going to go on the elbows. Now what I want you to do is make sure that you're squeezing through those shoulder blades, so those shoulder blades are down and back and the shoulders are kind of in your back pocket. Because a lot of times what I'll see is this. So people will be rounding through that upper back, and so that prevents the full engagement through the core. So lock those elbows down and back into position and lower those hips so you find that sweet spot where you can fully engage through the transverse. When you drop the chin, the hips tend to come up. When you look up, the hips kind of come down. So you want to try and keep the ears in line with the shoulders. All right? Think about pulling the belly button in through the spine as you roll the shoulders down and back. It's called a plank for a reason. You want to stay as long and tight as possible. Now, if the knee position is too easy, but the toe position is too hard, then a good alternative is just to widen that base of support so that you go into that wider stance, and that's going to help you as well. That's a great transition to the narrow stance plank. Now, a side plank is excellent for helping to develop, again, the transverse and hitting those obliques. Like I said, I love doing planks for active recovery, so when I'm catching my breath in between various sets. And so when you do the side plank, a couple things to watch for. First of all, again, you want it to be a plank as straight as possible. What often happens is people will hinge at the hip and drop the hips, or bend at the hip and stick their bum out. So you really want to fully extend through the hips, press the hips forward, squeeze the shoulder blades down and back. So you're, now this is really important. You want to have the ears in line with the shoulders, because what most often happens is as people get tired, you won't mean to do this, you won't mean to cheat, but your body will find an easier way. You'll drop your head and your hips will hike up. Now when that happens, you're putting more weight on this shoulder and the elbow. Now when you're doing that, you're not fully engaging through the core, all right? So you want to keep those ears in line with the shoulders, press the hips forward, squeeze the shoulders down and back. Now a great way to modify is one leg in front or hinging at the knee. All right, this leg can be straight or else you can bend it. Now, a great way to intensify the side plank is to just raise the top leg slightly. Now, what sometimes I see is people often try and do the hardest thing, you know, the hardest method of the exercise when they're not quite ready. So a lot of times when I see people lifting that leg, they're lifting it way up and they're dropping this hip. They're bending at the waist, bending at this hip. So when you do this, it's just a slight lift, pressing the hip forward, and if you want, you can squeeze that shoulder blade together and lift that hand right over top of the shoulder so that you're making a starfish. But really flex those, or open up those hips, press the hips forward. So planking is brilliant for increasing core stability, preventing injury, and you know, just giving you that active recovery in some of the challenge workouts that I have for you. Planking also helps with push-up power and remarkably with the pull-up as well. So it's a great exercise. Just make sure that you're doing it correctly. If you like my video, thumbs up, give me a comment, click the link below for more information as well.